And then he talks about the state, what he wanted to get to, the stages of development. When a person is born, he starts off with the nefesh. The nefesh starts to appear in him, starts to develop in him. And therefore, all of his concepts are based on the senses. The food, the drink, the sounds, and the sights. It's very physical, very material. The motor development, even before the just the sensual perception, that's all there is. He has no concept of any world beyond that, any inner world of himself, of the fuller development, and the further development of the soul, of the nefesh, this first level, expresses itself in the traits. Right? A person starts to develop traits, attributes, a personality, and therefore after a few years, the child is now able to concept, he's more of regishut lezulat, more of a sensitivity to other people, other people's feelings, to recognizing good, being grateful, careful of hurting other people. Once the nefesh is fully developed, then the ruach, right, the next level starts to, again, each level has to come upon the full building of the previous foundation. Then the ruach comes in, and then he recognizes, he's more aware of olam ha-machshava, now the world of thought and concepts and abstract ideals. His eyes are now opened to recognize reality which is not necessarily material, in other words, tangible, physical, but rather ideas or idyllic worlds. He has a thirst for knowledge, and his desire for iyun v'haskala, for intellectual analysis, become more and more dominant in his life. Up to that was just the senses. That was his whole life, like eating and drinking and just the sounds, and that's all there is. And now more of a, call it abstraction, the ability to think and to question and to analyze and to search for, now this search for knowledge and wisdom. And those are the two human sides we said that are in every person. And then, when they are properly developed and aligned, then a person can now start going, if he fixed his soul by the way of Torah, doing the commandments and doing the proper midot. Like, why is it so important? Doing the mitzvot isn't just some, you get brownie points, whatever. That is what makes the soul, the healthy soul, the healthy instrument, to refine it, to shine it, to keep it in its, how do you say, hygienic purity and holiness of the good midot, the proper midot. Right? You read the Messiah Yesharim, the path of the just, how to be a good person, a righteous person, a holy person, and the practical commandments. And if the soul, the ruach, the spirit, is filled with the knowledge of Torah, then he begins to receive a little illumination, right? Little sparks of illumination of the neshama. And that already enters him into the world of, again, the instrument that now enables him to see, to perceive, of, call it hidden worlds, let's say. He has desires and lust for aspirations, for lofty, for chayi netzach, for the eternal life, for things that are beyond the momentary, not just the momentary physical, but even intellectual, the physical, of the world as we see it. But he has more and more inklings and aspirations and this thirst for the connection to that which is greater than the limits of what we see in this world, beyond the limits of olam hazeh. He has thirst for longings for holiness and cleavage to the divine. And they become more and more of a driving force in his life, a dominant force in his life. Not a religious obligation. It becomes so real and tangible in front of him that these are the needs now he is now aware of. This is a whole new outlook, or new horizons open up to him. We spoke about this once, how it's climbing a mountain, you reach the top, you think you're finished, and then open up, you see in front of you new horizons, a new peak, even farther. And then each time your life gets higher and higher, and opening up new horizons, new peaks in front of you to rise higher and closer to the source of connection and cleavage to the divine good, the absolute good of justice, of holiness, of purification of life, of love of all, of connection to all. And as we'll see, that also brings about, not just that you become a loftier spiritual person, but that affects the world. The more you link to those branches, and you see the divine good in all, and you actually cause the more of the divine, so to speak, the roots to flow into the branches of life, the world becomes more refined and elevated to all. That good becomes revealed to all, exposed to all. The world is changed. But that's another topic of this influence that we have, that the more we rise and get on these levels, that activates and changes the world. It's not some personal attainment. and leaves the world behind, and just we get to some Olympus, but that actually affects the world. And then you understand the effect of your power of man's will, and the power of his speech, and the power of prayer. How that literally, he feels, how that literally affects the world, activates the world, not less than what he feels when the action of his hands and feet. Like when you do something, that, I can see, I'm pushing, I'm building something, I'm fixing something with my hands. That we feel, that we experience, that we call real. But this person gets to the level where the prayers, he sees that as no less, even more, activating. The prayers, he sees how they affect, how they work, how they... No less, again, and no less than the senses, the physical senses pick up the human, the actions of the physical actions. And then he gets to, he goes on to just the neshama level. The neshama, we said, is that which unifies all the Jewish people, the collective source, the common roots that transcend the individual. And the more you get to that level, the more you have this connection and cleavage, feel yourself as a part of the nation. You're more attached to the eternal. Because the individual is the finite side, the individual, the body side. But when you rise up to more and cleave to this collective, the Shekhinah, the Knesset Yisrael, more and more recognize yourself as a part of, a limb of this eternal essence. Then your life becomes more infused with that eternity and the higher level. He goes on and discusses the other two levels, the Chaya Yechidah, which he says can't even be described in words and vocalized in the verb of levels of prophecy and aliyat neshama and what can be attained. Just like the thoughts, I'll just maybe leave off with this last point. Just like the thoughts, a person's thoughts can go much faster than the actions, right? Your actions, your body moves slowly, right? Your thoughts, you can take you to all over the world and so they move very quickly. So too, things that are revealed in this higher level, a person can attain things in wisdom and understanding and insight in a few seconds that that thousands of years dressed in the body couldn't accept and express. That's what they said about the Arizal. He said he had a few insights here and there, but it take years. Just one insight of what he perceived would take years and books to write, to explain, to describe one iota of what he perceived in 1 second. It's hard to understand. It's not like it's it's just this perspective of the world. He says, Lerot olamot adirim and nitzchim, to see these eternal worlds of wisdom and light, and to describe that in this world would take ages and years just to describe it, to talk about it, to reveal it. And then he said there's higher levels, again, beyond that. Then the ultimate level of the Mashiach will be that which is the Yechidah, which unifies all of existence. It's the so root, it's so ultimate uplifting that it unifies all of Israel, all of the world, connecting it to the divine.